With the release of Rosaria's character demo by the official Genshin YouTube channel, it's safe to say that Rosaria will be one of the 4 stars in the upcoming Childe rerun banner. It's not like any of us had any doubt she wouldn't be in patch 1.4 for sure. Today we'll be talking about Rosaria and whether or not she'll be good without Constellations. Because, unlike 5 stars, there is no actual guarantee for 4 stars. It's possible to roll hundreds of fates on a banner and end up with C6 Childe and no Rosaria. It's super unlikely, but you know, it could happen to some poor lad out there just trying to get his own big titty goth GF. But generally, speaking from past experience, you usually need to go to around C2 for the 5 stars to secure C6 on all the featured 4 stars. And I'm sure many of us don't have that sort of money to drop on this game consistently. I know for sure I've been sucked dry by the Hu Tao banner. So, on with her Constellations. Her C1 gives her 10% more attack speed and essentially 10% physical damage when she lands a critical hit. To be honest, talents like these are always nice to have, but they are not character defining, so I'd say having her at C1 compared to C0 is going to be a very marginal improvement. Her C2 increases her elemental burst's duration from 8 seconds to 12 seconds. That's essentially a 50% increase in effectiveness. And it actually looks like her ultimate does a decent amount of damage per second while applying cryo in a big AoE, so I'd say C2 is definitely very nice to have. C3 and C5 are standard increases, nothing special. C4 in my opinion is ridiculously good. 5 energy for Rosaria every time she crits with her elemental skill, that's on a 6-second cooldown, really insane for having her burst up consistently. Because as it stands, her burst costs 60 energy, so this constellation will be super nice to have, allowing her to be her own battery. One very important thing to note is that it says it generates 5 energy for Rosaria, instead of generates 5 energy particles. So I assume none of your team members will benefit from this constellation. The way I look at this is that it benefits main DPS Rosaria the most. If you have her on field constantly pressing her skill, you definitely want this constellation to help her fill her energy gauge for her elemental burst. For a sub DPS Rosaria, it's still good to have, but not as important because it won't help your team generate more energy. C6 essentially gives her burst a Zhongli shred at 20% physical resistance shred. To be honest, resistance shred is super underrated, especially against enemies with high resistance. Because of how the game calculates resistances, they work super well especially against enemies with high resistances, like those pesky F2P agents in the Spiral Abyss. Overall, I think if you're planning to use her as a sub DPS, C0 is perfectly fine, but C2 will be the biggest spike for her. And if you're using her for a main DPS, C4 and C6 will definitely be huge boost to her damage output. But at the end of the day, it all depends on your financial situation. Don't go spending what you don't have for 2D waifus. I'm saying this because I'm definitely guilty, having overspent on video games and ended up on a cup ramen diet for a few weeks. Well, that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know down below what are your thoughts on Rosaria and how hyped you guys are for her. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!